Hello, hello, hello. Another day to all my goblins, goblins, and everybody in between. We're back with another one, doing something a little different. Um, Elliot Page used to be known as Ellen Page. Talk about healthy masculinity, and who would know better about masculinity than someone who used to be a woman, I suppose. Let's just get into it.
Elliot Page, formerly Ellen Page, is going viral for her take on healthy masculinity as a transgender man, and I can't help but think this is one of the most feminine takes on the subject I've heard in quite some time, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Today we're going to talk about Elliot Page, formerly Ellen Page. Huge actress, now actor. Most of the drama surrounding Elliot Page recently has been about being cast in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which we've all yet to see what that's about to look like. But now Elliot Page is going viral for a take on healthy masculinity as a transgender man.
So I am curious to see how that's going to go as far as the Odyssey, because that is someone right now, and I don't know what Paige is about to say. I do not have an idea, but for a trans man to be talking about, again, woman who used to be a man who used to be a woman, to talk about healthy masculinity, but supposed to be in the Odyssey, that has a bunch of fighting, killing, struggle for survival, peak masculinity, is the people watching this are going to be like guys who like watching, action type movies, people who are fans of the Odyssey as far as those stories or anything like that. So you're going to have a few different groups of people watching it. But if you talk about, old soldiers fighting monsters with swords and spears and just their wits, that's gonna be more guys than women watching that movie. I know it's gonna be more guys. It's Christopher Nolan. He makes some good stuff. So I don't know what Paige is gonna say, but let's see what happens and try to translate that to the Odyssey.
So let's hear it.
Healthy masculinity to me is, or even just something I've felt as transitioning, is like leaning away from whenever there is some sort of impulse or expectation you've put on yourself to like shut down or conform in a way that usually feels like this, like I am closing off. I remember kind of being like, oh, Elliot, maybe you should, talk with your hands a little less, or, maybe in pictures, because ever since transitioning, now I'm like, Johnny, I am smiling in those photos. Whereas I used to be so, I could barely look at a photo of myself. I was always like, and now, and I'll be say a dude's like, hey, are you Victor from Umbrella Academy? And we're doing a photo together. He's very, I'm very, and like having that.
What's the problem? Like that's, I don't know what the heck. What are you talking about? Like, I'm not understanding what the problem is. I mean, so you got a guy who's, big, and, he might stand there, he don't smile in the photo, and then you're all smiley and you feel like you have more healthy masculinity because you're smiling in a photo. Maybe it's a choice. Like, some people smile, some people don't. Even with the talk with the hands thing, I'm literally talking my hands right now. Of course, y'all can't see it because I'm a cartoon. Well, I guess you kind of technically can. The cartoon got hands and switches them up based on what's happening. So it's what the heck? What are you talking about?
A moment where I'm like, oh, should I also not? Like, should I also be
close
and
off?
It's just like, what the fuck, Elliot? What are you talking about? Like, oh, honey, you're the part of the problem.
No dude talk to himself like, oh, honey. No straight guy. Let me say that. They're gay, maybe. I don't know, because I've heard gay guys call other people honey. Maybe he refers to himself as honey. I don't know. But no straight masculine man refers to himself in oh, honey. No, definitely not. That is definitely still feminine. Even the movements are still very feminine from watching how Paige is operating.
Really, when I'm hearing something like this, I can see the femininity in Elliot Page. You can see Ellen Page, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying that. And I have to think that this is the experience for most men, or biological men, as we're going to have to call them in this video, when they watch trans men talk about the male experience and how that manifests for them. Is there also this understanding that you can feel how feminine the characterization is of this healthy masculine?
Yes. Yes. 100% yes. There's nothing masculine about what I just saw. The way of talking, the moving, none of that was masculine. And it's little things. It ain't necessarily even the verbiage that was used. Because if you took that and put it on like somebody like, I don't know, Jim Carrey, for example. It's just the movement and the way the same words be said is different, and it's not easy to explain that. But it's I'm gonna look at you, and even if I don't know that you're trans, I'm gonna at least think you're gay because it's very effeminate. So it's like, oh, that's a gay guy because he's effeminate, and I know I'm questioning now if they're straight. I am very much questioning that, but no. I know one that's married. He married to a woman. I know that don't mean nothing, but still, I'm just thinking about it. He's married to a woman, but he has some very effeminate ways about himself. The way he does things, the way he uses his hands when he speaks, even his speech pattern. But he was also raised around a bunch of women. So he unfortunately has some effeminate ways about himself. But in the years that I've known him, no, he's dated women. He's only been with women. And he married a woman. Now I know people be like this 2026. That don't mean nothing. I'm fully aware, and to a certain degree, I'm still kind of watching because it's like if he does come out as gay, like I knew it. But until that happens, he's just an effeminate straight guy, I guess.
Masculinity, because that's what I see in front of me. I see a woman who is attempting a play at masculinity. And underneath that, even further, I see a woman who is a victim of sexual abuse. And that seems abundantly clear in virtually every video or statement that I see from Elliot Page. In this particular video, talking about not being able to even look at a photo of themselves, I think is a manifestation of past abuse. And Ellen Page / Elliot has spoken at length about sexual assault and abuse that she experienced in Hollywood, some at the hands of pretty A-list actors, at least as we know them today. I can't help but think this was all a massive influence on Ellen wanting to become Elliot. I think she felt
Yeah, that is a shame that happened to Elliot when Elliot was Ellen. This is weird trying to do it. It happened. It was a shame that happened to Elliot as a child actor. As a child. It's a shame that happened as a child. And the downside is we all know better what kind of crap goes down in Hollywood, what kind of crap did go down in Hollywood. Especially if you saw the whole Dan Schneider Nickelodeon thing. A lot more people are aware of some of the things that happen as far as Hollywood goes. So it's always definitely a shame, and it's sad that as a child, Paige felt like they couldn't talk to anybody. Definitely got to get the help for that. Definitely got to get the help for that. Anybody listening, if you need help for that, please go seek help for that.
so uncomfortable in her female body, the one that she was born with, the one that you can't technically run away from, but felt the need to try. And in order to escape the sexual assault and the objectification, she decided to become a man. The issue is you can't do that. So
right, because there are boys in Hollywood that also go through the exact same thing. They being a boy, being a girl makes absolutely no difference to some of these weirdos in Hollywood. Unfortunately, being one or the other, the same person may not care, or you may have just a different type of predator after you, whether you're a boy or a girl.
Ironically, you're watching somebody who has run so fast away from womanhood, but is giving a super feminine take on masculinity because the femininity shines through, especially in the act of trying to be a man when you're not one. And this makes sense because Elliot Page, I think, is a reaction to what Ellen Page experienced, not actually who Ellen Page was as a person. And there's other clips from this podcast, which I did decide to watch, that emphasize this.
I feel like I've gone from a place where I could barely function. I was so uncomfortable to now kind of no matter what's going on, like my feet are on the ground. And I had to do all that digging and I had to like scrape through all those layers and not worry about what people were going to say or think and all that. And gosh, when you do get like, feel like liberated from that and that shame that you've been carrying, like that is what I would wish for everybody.
So was the shame coming from being a woman or because of your past experience? Because you could, again, if you go get help, you can still feel like that without having to go through, whether it be chemical or surgical alterations to yourself. You can still get that same help. So the transition is almost like what they say with tattoos, right? It's like, oh, if you got tattoos, it's because you've been through something, and so you got the tattoo to make you feel better. It's like, okay, but you can go get the help without having to modify yourself in some capacity.
I do wonder where the shame came from. I do wonder what she feels like she's been liberated from. And it seems like the prying eyes and hands of other people. And this is somebody who's been in Hollywood, she says, since she was 10 years old. We all know how that goes for individuals like this. And it's so sad to see that this is the outcome, I think, of what Ellen Page experienced in Hollywood. And there's other clips from this podcast that also emphasize this point. Let's listen to Alana ask Ellen about how healthily she moved through Hollywood.
Made the journey through being an actor, starting at a very young age, healthfully. Were you like aware of the, I don't know, predatory nature of the industry? What was your like protection mechanism?
That's a stupid question. If Ellen Page started at 10, there's absolutely no way she would have known about the predatory nature of Hollywood at the time. There was no way to protect herself from it, which is why we ended up with what we had now.
I suppose, is my question.
I mean, I don't want to be or come across as like over or dramatic by any means, but I would say that I don't know how healthily I feel like I did sort of in some ways barely make it a bit.
That's how Jacob
She feels like she barely made it a bit, and it seems like that's true considering your entire identity has since shifted and you've decided to undergo all of these medical treatments and the hormone replacement therapy, this, that, and the third. Technically, Ellen Page did not make it out of Hollywood. And I think that's the point that's being made here, whether she would want to admit it or not. Her current identity is a reaction to the things that she's experienced, rather than something that I think sits in reality. Yet there's still this push to blame people for pointing that out, or to point fingers and call transphobic those who are saying, hey, maybe we don't subject children to this sort of treatment. Maybe we should question the reality of transgender ideology.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
Even that laugh wasn't a masculine laugh. That was a very, very woman thing to do. That was not a masculine laugh whatsoever. Just the way that happened. Again, if a guy did that, if it was a man, a born man, I would have just thought he was gay. I wouldn't have paid no attention. I wouldn't care any more or less. But I was like, oh, guess he's gay.
No, aren't we over it?
I think we
Just
are.
like we are. Like
I think we are, and that's why
like,
this
aren't
is
you over just like queer phobia,
Yep.
misogyny, transphobic, blaming everything on trans people. It's just like, aren't you seeing through this? You know,
It seems
so
so
boring.
transparent.
And even with the chimps, actually, when I'm thinking of
This is really interesting because I find it more boring to think that if you experience life in a certain way or if you adhere to certain stereotypes, you should become the sex of those stereotypes. You should then put yourself into that box. To me, that's boring. It's much more interesting to see people show up with the sex that they were born in all of the different ways in which one could show up in that sex.
I also find it funny that Ellen became Elliot, but doesn't have to deal with any of the actual day to day issues as far as being a man. You know, you don't have to worry about somebody else seeing you as threatening because you're minding your own business walking down the road. Because you're happen to be, standing somewhere and then they see you, now they cross the street or whatever. Elliot Page, don't have to deal with that. Ellen Page, whatever the heck their name is now, because that's very difficult to switch up like that. Don't have to worry about that. That's not a concern for Paige there, because even though she's Elliot Page now, still treated like a woman, still viewed as a woman. They don't view Elliot Page as a man. They view Elliot Page as a woman who calls herself Elliot. And because of how she is treated, as far as Hollywood goes, that not necessarily even Hollywood, just in general, you're not treated like a regular man. You're not treated in the same way men are. When some of these women get on there talking about all this man hate and man this and man should die and all that, they're not talking about you. They talking about all the natural born men. They're not talking about the trans men whatsoever. They're not included in that group. So you're not even, it's like you trying to get all the benefits of being a man, which, I mean, yes, there are some, but none that I can think of that really matter to that degree. But hey, you're not getting the same treatment whatsoever.
And interestingly enough, Ellen Page, when Ellen Page, was a semi-masculine woman. I think we can all pretty much see that. And there was
I wouldn't have said that. I didn't see semi-masculine on there. She was dry. Like, she had a really dry sense of humor and a dry way of speaking, but I would not have said masculine, like, not at all.
There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it was celebrated. Ellen Page was interesting. This mixture of beauty and femininity with a masculine edge that people wanted to watch, people wanted to see. An Oscar-nominated actress at that. Now in Elliot Page, I think you see this mixture of a performance of masculinity, which he/she admits to in so many different interviews on the subject matter, and this wounded female nature that is under all of what we're experiencing with the transgender journey. And for somebody who claims this is liberating, they seem uniquely uncomfortable in their body. And I don't think this is a measure to blame trans people or to say they're everything wrong with the world. But yes, you should be subject to criticism. When you've gone through this journey, you clearly seem uncomfortable. There clearly seems to be other explanations as to what you experienced that led you down this path. And now you're standing on the other side and promoting this to not only adults, but young children. Elliot Page has continuously argued that
Yeah, I've never liked the young children thing. Kids are going to believe whatever you put in their mind. And if you do that from a young age, that is the literal definition of grooming. And if Elliot Page is saying that when they were Ellen Page was groomed, why would you turn around and do the same thing? And I get that, a hurt person hurts people, but if you seem to have the healing, I guess, that you say you went through to now be okay with yourself, why would you do that to a kid? Like, that's never made sense to me. Leave them alone. They don't know nothing. Most kids want to be weird stuff like, I want to be a loaf of bread when I grow up. Like, kids are weird because they don't know anything whatsoever. Leave them alone. Let them be kids. Like, there's no need to bring up sex and gender to a child. Let them be a child. Like, they can learn that stuff when they get older, when their brains develop a bit more and they can make a conscious decision like that. But somebody in elementary school, and I would even argue middle school, should not even be thinking about stuff like that. They should be thinking about school and moving on to the next grade. That's it. Nothing else. And unfortunately, that ain't where we live in. That would be my hopes and dreams, but I've never liked that aspect of this.
trans youth need to be protected, that they need to be able to go on their transition journeys, and is now working on a documentary where she's like looking at
Like, what is this? What are the monkeys doing? Like, and is she sitting there with a bag of like groceries watching the monkeys do whatever they do? What is this? This is weird, man.
nature and animals and arguing that they are also queer, non-binary, trans. You get the gist. All of this coming from somebody who should have never been on the journey in the first place, who clearly is here because of a manifestation of abuse and assault. And now they're planting their flag in the ground saying that this is a viable path for people who experience something similar. And all of this with very confused takes on masculinity that are actually just femininity shining through. And I think most men who are watching right now would attest to that. Let's watch one more clip.
Close up.
Yeah, I definitely will attest to that. Again, if if that was any guy, that's a gay guy. I know that is Ellen Page. You're still being a woman. You're masking as a man, but you're still a woman. The way you act, the way you talk, the way you move, everything is still very woman.
It's just like, what the f, Elliot? What are you talking about? Like, oh, honey, you're the
See, exactly.
part of the problem.
Mm.
So I think it's, to me, healthy masculinity would be, well, a healthiness for anyone to just, love themselves, people to care for themselves.
Look at the hand holding. Look at the hand holding. No guy does that whatsoever. If they're going to, let's say, hug themselves, they're going to go further over, and I would say even grab the tricep and the side of the other side. And that's just me doing that now. If I was to, and even now I would feel like it's a forced motion, and I don't know how I would hug myself, but that no guy stops there. No straight hetero male stops there and holding their forearms and elbow like that. That's a very feminine thing to do. That's a very feminine pose. That's femininity leaking through there.
Ideally get rest when they can, like just the practical basic, drink water, like eat a banana, like, and also just, doing what you can to be intentionally and mindfully, not letting yourself get like swayed or twisted by the rules that I feel like end up like leading to so many of the problems that we see that are, do get inflicted by toxic masculinity.
Wrong, and very, very wrong. Like, whatsoever. It and you can't even say what those quote unquote problems are. Like, everything you just said is just very, very wrong. You're speaking as a feminine person, masking as a guy. You're not a guy. You didn't grow up as a guy. You don't know what it's like to be from 0 to however old Pages now. I don't know. Let's say 40. 0 to 40. I really should look and see how old Pages now. But 0 to 40, you don't know what it's like for a guy being born there. From 0 to 40, growing up as a guy, growing up with other boys, growing up with being a boy around girls, and even going up through, let's say, the 90s and all this other stuff, and just the way things were. You don't know that. You just decide to flip the script and you have to say, "Oh, this is toxic." No, that's not toxic. It's toxic. You can't call something toxic because you don't like it. I don't like broccoli, but I don't start a campaign for saying broccoli is toxic. Now would I? And it's enough crazy people on the internet to start believing it if I make enough noise about it.
Violence and abuse, just general cruelty, and yeah, I think it's just like healthy masculinity could just mean a really good cry. And like, I just want to make sure I'm always like leaning away from that pull to.
Yeah, that's the estrogen in your system. That's what that is. I'm not saying it is not masculine to cry, because I've seen grown men cry for the right reasons. That's the kicker there. Seeing your kid graduate, right? Good reason to cry. Seeing your kid do something accomplished. Your kid passed away. Your spouse passed away. Is there certain moments where grown men will cry, and I don't think any less of them seeing them cry. And it's seeing a grown man cry for a good reason will bring a tear to my eye, because I'm empathetic towards this individual. If it's pride, I like seeing a father being proud of their kid. If it's I haven't seen my kid in a long time, or like the soldier reunion videos where their kid done went away and they pop up out of nowhere and surprise them, I like seeing stuff like that, because it is a good reason for them to shed a tear. If you talk about just crying because it's Tuesday, that's a different story. You suck it up. Get some thick skin. Like, oh, this person was mean to me. Who cares? Be mean back. Go your own way. Like, what you saying is you just soft. That's what that is. If you were a guy, if you were a full-blooded biological man, I would have called you soft. I would have called you soft because, why are you crying? Oh, they were mean to me at work. Be mean back. Like, unfortunately, you got to suck it up. That's life. Not everybody's going to be nice to you. That's reality. Not everybody's going to be nice to you. Some people intentionally are going to try to make you miserable. So you get a thick skin, you get a different job, or you learn to throw it back. Not in the way that some people are thinking. I mean, throw words back at them, not turn around and start twerking on them. That's just weird. But you do that right, that's also act of dominance. You look over the eye, twerk on them, and don't blink. Make them back down.
To shut off emotionally.
I'm hearing like an openness.
So guys, do we see the heart of this? I don't think there's ever been a clip that better explains exactly why she is in the situation that she's in right now. And
shutting off emotionally is not necessarily the case. I feel like I can speak for most men where we make decisions in the fly based on that moment. If it's not worth the argument, not gonna argue. That's not shutting off emotionally. That's being smart. If anything, that's way more emotional control, because I may want to rage out. I may want to yell. I may want to punch a wall, but I'm not, because I can also think about the repercussions of those actions and not do it. It takes way more control to be feeling something and not act out on it than it would be to act out on it, because then what's your excuse? Oh, I was mad. So you punched your spouse because you were mad? Now, from guy to woman, that's abuse. From woman to guy, a lot of cases, that's reality. That's normal. And that's a better question. You say it's toxic masculinity to quote unquote shut down. And it's not shutting down, it's control. I am controlling myself. I don't want my feelings to be used as a weapon for later, because it only takes one time to know that feeling, and you will never want to share nothing again. And unfortunately, depending on the situation, some guys ain't want to share it with nobody again, at least not another woman, because once one or two done it to you, you're going to assume most going to do it. And I will have to really, really trust you to do it, and I might do it with something small. And the instant you bring it back up, done deal. I don't expect me to bring nothing back up with you whatsoever.
As men listening to this, I'm calling you guys out in particular, does this resonate with you at all? That healthy masculinity is just showing up like every other human does? That seems contradictory, because masculinity is something different from your female counterparts. Not only that, there seems to be this clear point, at least in Elliot's mind, that healthy masculinity is just whatever toxic masculinity isn't. And again, that points back to her experiences with men. She was a
Can't even say what toxic masculinity is. Like, gave absolutely no example. You think healthy masculinity is just a good cry, but why are you crying? Depends on the situation. Yeah, it can be healthy in general to have a good cry, but that's not healthy masculinity. That's just good mental health. You might have to go somewhere and cry on your own. I mean, I got told as a kid, you never let them see you cry. They might make you upset to the point of tears, but you don't let them see you cry. It's not that I didn't get told to cry. I got told don't show them that I'm crying. Don't let them see that it's bothering me. That they don't show them your weakness, essentially, is what that boils down to. I didn't get told not to cry. I got told not to let them see me cry. So even if I go somewhere else and I gotta let that emotion out, that negative emotion out of my system, let it out your system, get yourself straight, and then go right back in. Even when I played football as a kid, I never got told not to cry. If I got told boys don't cry, it was by a woman, by a grown woman, an adult woman told me boys don't cry. You know what I got told by like my coaches or something as a kid playing football? Walk it off. Go walk it off. If you go walk it off, that's give you a moment to be by yourself. Get it out your system. And when it come back over here, by the time you get back over here, be ready to go back in again. Go walk it off. Didn't say don't cry. Didn't say boys don't cry. Didn't say you a boy, don't cry. Walk it off. Go walk it off. Go walk off. Go deal with it. And when you come back, be ready to pick it back up.
Woman utilized by men, objectified by men, wanted to run away from that womanhood and so became a man. And I think made it her journey to try to become what she believes to be the healthiest version of man, or the most non-toxic version of man, to live in juxtaposition or aside from her abusers, which unfortunately and very sadly makes your entire identity a response to your abusers. And to me, that's the sad story of Elliot Page, or the Ellen to Elliot pipeline. And I think a lot of trans people are on a very similar journey. And I wonder if any are listening right now and whether or not this take resonates with them, if you'd be so willing to put that in the comments and not receive judgment for saying, yeah, maybe that is a little bit a part of the journey here, because
Yep, same here. Leave me a comment. Like maybe I'm looking at it wrong. I like to get information from more sides, more perspectives, because I can only speak from my own experience and from what somebody is saying. So if someone's listening in and they have an opinion about it, throw it down there. I'm not going to attack you. And I might go maybe back forward. I like to ask questions and get clarity on what it is that I'm doing or what it is I'm saying. And I feel like I'm open enough to maybe change my mindset based on what you're doing. Don't come aggressive, because nobody responds to aggressiveness. But I would say come with facts and information. If let's say you are trans, if you are a trans man, if you're woman to man, why did you do that? What was the reason? And nobody else, and ain't like I gotta say it's because ain't nobody in my comments, but I would say nobody else attack this individual. If this person is gonna be open enough to share their story and experience, be open enough to maybe read it and try to understand where they're coming from. Now, don't go in there and say I tripped and stubbed my toe and and I saw a man not cry when he did it, so I decided to be a man. Please don't come that crazy. But I feel like you have a legit reason for it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna check and see who Paige plays in Odyssey. Give me like 2 seconds. Okay. um, Speculation. They apparently, I don't think we know who Elliot Page is playing yet. Not officially. Rumors have it that Elliot Page was going to be playing Achilles. That would be. I'll be slightly upset, but it'd be more funny than anything else. Because Achilles was like the toughest guy around. Man's big, like man's. You can't have little old Elliot Page playing Achilles. But that's that's more rumor than anything else. They said reports indicate Elliot Page is playing Elpenor, who's the youngest member of this crew, which I guess kind of makes sense given the height and build, where Elliot Page is built like a young boy versus a grown man. Especially if we're talking about the Odyssey. So I guess we'll see. I could see the younger member of the Odysseus' crew. I can see that. But I swear, if I see Elliot Page as Achilles, I'm gonna probably watch it because I would want to be upset. Because unless it's heavy CG, I would still be upset even if it was heavy CG. But you would have to do some heavy CG for Elliot Page to be Achilles. But that's my rant for the day. Please like, comment, subscribe, become part of the Goblin Horde. We need some numbers. Right now we're a mighty horde of 2 subscribers and me. Let's get one more in there. I know plenty of y'all watching. I've seen your eyes. I'm watching you all the time. But I catch you anyway. Deuces.